You have got to be kidding me. You have got to be kidding me.
Matt, I'm stunned.
Can I?
We're not on television. Hell, I'm about to go grab one on the break.
My phone has not stopped blowing. The look that, seriously, we're getting ready for this show. I wanted to talk Nick Chubb. Ryan stood there in our studio, and I thought somebody died. The look that you had on your face, my phone has not stopped blowing. Deshaun Watson's out for the year. If you don't know by now, it is blown up. Deshaun Watson's out for the year. He broke his shoulder. On top of a high ankle sprain. He had an MRI in the ankle and a shoulder. He's out for the season. He's got to have shoulder surgery. He broke something in his shoulder. You got to be kidding me. You have, oh my God. Dude. Welcome to the show, everybody. That's it. He's trying to tell you. Oh my God. This is, holy cow. I can't even keep it together right now. Like this, the Browns season is over. You got the biggest win that you've had in decades. And like it's done. You're done. I got done talking yesterday about how much improved I thought Deshaun Watson was and how much better things were going to be. And I saw a little bit, and it's all for naught. He has to have season-ending shoulder surgery after an injury he sustained in the first quarter. He's heading to injured reserve. It's a displaced fracture in his right glenoid in his shoulder, and he'll have surgery to repair it. And he has a high ankle sprain. I cannot believe this. I literally cannot believe this. This season, oh my God. And maybe it's wrong of us. Like, this team has had some magic. This team has found a way. Dude, if Kevin Stefanski can nurse this team into the playoffs and drag it along, I mean, I get, like, this morning, it feels like our world is crashing down. Like, literally, it seems like everybody just walked right up and a swift kick to the boys, if you got them. And riding the highest of highs. How many people went and just paid $500 to get seats for the Browns-Steelers game on Sunday? And you're probably going to have P.J. Walker playing. If that. Ryan, I already went through the practice squads. I already sent out a list of practice squad quarterbacks if you need to go get them. Jeff Driscoll and Trace McSorley and A.J. McCarron. Wouldn't that be something? Wouldn't that be something just to bring this all back together? Go sign A.J. McCarron off the Cincinnati Bengals practice squad. Do it. Do something.
Matt, I'm nauseous.
Like, dude, I can't. I seriously. This is the most insane thing I think I've ever seen in my life. For this team, for what they have fought through, and it was. Oh my God, he was just starting to turn. I really felt like we had just started to figure some stuff out with Deshaun Watson. Damn it. I don't know if I'm angry or if I'm sad. I'm just angry at this point. And what are you going to blame? Who are you going to blame? He broke his shoulder. What do you want to do? Because then it's all, what is it? It's going to get drugged back out of the closet. How did they handle the first shoulder injury? Was it unstable? You can't prepare for it, okay? You can't prepare for injuries like that. You think Aaron Rodgers, like the Jets were all ready for him? No, but like, oh my God, this is just devastating. This is absolutely devastating. One of the most promising seasons that we had in a long time. You had built up. If I just want to be extremely critical, Ryan, yet another year that you are wasting a Myles Garrett Defensive Player of the Year. Dude, you are wasting this. Think about this. This defense that has been put together is all for naught now. Is all for naught. And I know that there's something, if you want to try to stay positive, I don't know if right now is the time to stay positive. I'll try to be positive an hour or two. This defense that you have put together will now be wasted unless they can do something, a miracle, to drag this through. Yeah, the Browns' schedule on the way out is not that hard, and you were able to beat the Colts and the 49ers with P.J. Walker. The start to Deshaun Watson's time here in Cleveland has been hell. I could not imagine anything worse than this. We are in the 7th level of hell right now. Deshaun Watson out for the year, broken shoulder. Gonna have surgery. Is he gonna come back as the same guy? I don't know. Like, I think we all need to take a deep breath right now. Everybody out there, everybody ready? Hold it. Out through the nose. Do you feel a little bit better? No. No.
I feel like I can't breathe, man.
Dude, like, I seriously, we're getting ready. And Ryan, you were holding your phone. And you look at me and you didn't say anything. Like, you just look at me and I was like, what? You had this shocked look on your face and I go, what? And you go, Deshaun Watson's out for the year. And I go, bull crap. I go, no. And then, I mean, here's the thing. The Browns announced this. This was not something like Rappaport and Schefter. The Browns straight up have announced this, that he's out for the season. There's nothing to be had. Andrew Bear is going to speak later this morning. Dude, being a Browns fan is not easy, man. And I don't ever subscribe to the karma thing. I don't subscribe to the, football gods have it out for Cleveland and all that kind of stuff. That is just some rotten, stinking luck. That's what that is. And there would be people that are already jumping on it. You should have never traded away Josh. Rub that salt right in the wound. Where's that? Just rub that right in the wound. Yeah, Josh Dobbs, it'd be looking better if you had Jacoby Brissett. And now you're at a position where you have nothing but free agent quarterbacks, Nick Foles, anybody, or guys off of practice squads. Because I said this a couple of weeks ago, and nothing has changed. I don't know if I need to see P.J. Walker play any more quarterback. There's a world you turn this over to Dorian Thompson-Robinson, see what he's got. The problem that the Browns face, you have a collection in that locker room and a team that outside of the quarterback can go make the playoffs. You can't just run Dorian Thompson-Robinson out there. You got to keep this thing together. You talk about all of the hardships that Kevin Stefanski's had to deal with. You got to keep this team on the rails, man. You're in this thing right now. And I know that this morning, we're all sitting here saying we're screwed. We're absolutely screwed. And you'll give him the pass, and then at the end of the season, like, dude, this is, oh my God. I've seen a lot of stuff, man. Being a Browns fan, this might be right up there. This might be right up there. This is passing Billy Manziel. This is over the Hugh and Todd Haley thing. And the problem is that this is not a dysfunction issue. This is an injury thing. Like, I mean... Again, people are angry this morning. I understand that. Well, why are you running him so much? He's a quarterback who can move. That's what's going to happen. I'm sorry. That's part of the game that makes Deshaun Watson so good. And he got crunched. Now, the question is when? He finished the game, went 14 for 14 with a broken shoulder in the second half and the ankle sprain later. Like, I mean... The questions will be asked to Andrew Berry later. The first one on my mind is, yes, is this something that when he suffered that injury earlier in the season, did that weaken that area? Did that open this up to this injury? Or was this something that he just took a shot and whatever this bone shoulder fracture is, it popped and it's gone? I don't know. Because you're always going to sit there and question and second guess, could they have done something to protect this or could they have done something to change it? And I don't think so. He broke his shoulder. And the immediate surgery. Like, they said this in the team statement. It requires immediate surgical intervention. Like, he's got to go in for surgery probably tomorrow to try to get to the offseason. Then what do I got to deal with all? Is he back? Is he healing?
Matt, I'm not sure I can mentally handle the discourse that's going to be about Josh Dobbs over this next week and the rest.
Ryan, you have a fantastic point there. We need to let that go. For my sanity, for everybody else's sanity out there, that water is under the bridge. There's no going back. And if you want to start piling on Andrew Berry about that, there's another time. We have got to keep this thing together right now. Lock it up. Talking about us on the show and the Browns. Could you imagine the Browns walking into the facility this morning? What's Wyatt Teller and Myles Garrett and Sione Takitaki and Rodney McLeod, who was I was all excited this morning. Rodney McLeod was on Come Get Some. He had great cuts. Rodney McLeod said that Sunday was a top 5 win in his career. He's played 15 years in the NFL, and he said Sunday was a top 5 win for him. I was excited to play that sound. How do you think Rodney McLeod feels going into the facility this morning and finding out Deshaun Watson's done for the year? How's the rest of this team going to handle this? I'm neurotic right now as a fan. I don't got to go out there Sunday and play. How is anybody else on that team expected to be focused and try to make something out of this? Because that is the crazy thing. You are in this. You are in the middle of this. And I'll tell you this right now. I don't want to chalk this up. I don't want to just blank this season away. Because there's a world, and I know I sound crazy right now, there is a world that they could piece this together and this defense, and if they do another quarterback or PJ Walker, you could limp your way into the playoffs. Now, I know, here's the problem. That's not good enough for anybody anymore. That's rightly so. You have expectations out there, as you should. Does making the playoffs mean anything anymore? I don't know. But there is a world that you could somehow try to piece this together and get there. And that is where the focus has got to be for the Cleveland Browns. As fans, we're going to feel sick to our stomach for today and probably for a long time. In that facility there, they don't have time to cry. They got to go. They got to find a way to try to still make it. And I guess you want a positive, Ryan, to pull out of this whole thing? You know what it looks like without Deshaun Watson. You know what it looks like. And yeah, it wasn't good, but at least you're prepared for that. In a way, at least this team, it's going to sound so bad, but if you were standing up in front of the team this morning, you could say, guys, we did get wins without Deshaun Watson. We did. Now, is that crazy? Is it improbable? Sure, absolutely. But they have done that. And that is maybe what they have to try to grab on and focus. The one thing that I will say right now, they need to go find another quarterback. And that's not a shot at PJ. It is a shot at PJ Walker. I like PJ Walker. You got to go get me something else. I don't know if it's Nick Foles. I'll be damned. Carson Wentz just got signed to, right?
The
Rams.
Tom Brady? What's he doing?
Wouldn't that be something? Just kidding. I'm going to send a tweet.
Well, Matt, we'll be live in the second hour, I believe, while Andrew Berry speaks to the media.
Okay.
So that's going to be an interesting hour. I'm beyond repair right now, Matt. You know, I know it was funny, not funny one bit, but I did have the reaction as though somebody died. And your face, you didn't say a word for a solid minute.
You looked and like the look on your face, the initial thing was something like obviously it was negative, but the way you looked was, yes, somebody died. Like some just massive piece of information just dropped. And then I said, what? And you said Deshaun Watson is out for the year. I thought you were kidding. I really thought you were kidding. And then as soon as I click on Twitter, just an absolute flood of people going with it. Ryan, delete this. PJ and DTR, clear all. Ryan, no. Not you, Ryan. Another Ryan.
Oh.
Ryan Katz on Twitter. No, Ryan. No. Oh, my God. Call Rivers. Jake, I'll give up a second for AJ McCarron. Try to stop me. Would be nice if Josh Dobbs was still here. It's over, dude. Nick Foles. Dirty Dog of Akron quote retweeted our tweet yesterday and said, well, that didn't age well. Quoting this, I blame myself. What a morning. Again, we need to reset this in breaking news if you don't know. Deshaun Watson has been ruled out for the rest of the season. He's going to be placed on IR. He's got surgery for a broken bone in his shoulder.
Man, I'm just trying to think of what they shot him up with at halftime. To go out there
and that's what they got. I mean,
it was that Aaron Rodgers stuff.
And that's like, so honestly, the initial reaction from some people I had this morning was, how did they not know? Now, he got the MRI, okay? And that is probably, listen, I'm no doctor, but do you see broken bones on an MRI? Wouldn't you need an X-ray? So apparently what happened was he came out of the game and he said he felt a different pain. He felt a different pain in his shoulder. And that is what probably prompted all of this to take a look. And that's probably where deep dive. Everybody get on WebMD for the morning. Was this something that the other injury impacted? And we'll hear that from Andrew Berry this morning. I don't think we can carry that live, but we'll keep the updates as we roll through it. It's just, you want an answer this morning, right? Because you want to be angry at something. You want to be able to focus your anger at something. And I don't know what that is right now. Was the prior injury a precursor to this one? That is a question that will be asked this afternoon to Andrew, or in an hour to Andrew Berry. And I don't know if we'll actually have a straight up answer to that. I have a real hard time believing, Ryan, that it doesn't. There's no correlation there. You're telling me he missed a month of football with a shoulder injury, played a game, and broke his shoulder? The same shoulder? That's too much of a coinky-dink for me. That is way too much of a coincidence for me. So, rotten luck, I guess. I mean, is this just... I don't know. And the thing is, it's going to be a statement, because here it comes. He's played 11 games. In 2 years for the Cleveland Browns, he's played 11 football games at, again, $230 million, because here comes the contract and all that other kind of bullcrap. As hard as it is right now, I put that aside. My anger right now is not about the 11 games that he had played. It's that I got 8 more to go. 8 more to go, right? And I don't have a quarterback. That is the biggest issue of all of my anger. Him being hurt, the future of the franchise, I don't care. I have 8 games and I am in a playoff spot right now. What in the hell are they going to do? And it's putting the cart before the horse. Ryan, they could have some miraculous run to the end of the season, something the NFL has never seen before. And Dorian Thompson-Robinson comes out and he turns into C.J. Stroud, and we turn it on and we're into the playoffs. That could happen. We don't know, though. And now I'm going to have to go into every game. Do you want to know the other problem that's going to be? Every game is going to feel like a must-win. There were games that you had afforded yourself a little bit of a padding, right? And there are games coming up that you feel are winnable. You thought you were going to be able to take it to the Rams. You thought you'd be able to. Who's the other team that's below 500 that's on our schedule coming up? 3 out of our next 5 games are against opponents that are under 500. The Broncos, the Rams, the Bears. You don't even have a Tyson Bagent, right? You don't even have a Tyson Bagent that you can go find in this situation. And then the biggest issue with all of this, can you believe it? Trade deadline. Missed it by what, 2 weeks? And I know people were screaming for it back then. Put this up as our poll question this morning at Matt Fontana's show. Who do you want to quarterback for the Cleveland Browns the rest of the season? DTR, PJ Walker, go sign somebody. Sign practice squad free agent, something like that. Just go sign somebody. We'll put that up. Because I understand Browns fans, they're flooding me right now with run. Run with PJ Walker, or run with Dorian Thompson-Robinson. But how about Matt Ryan?
No,
that is actually one guy I will straight up tell you, I'm good on Matt Ryan. Somebody goes, can LeBron come play quarterback? What's Donovan Mitchell up to?
Myles Garrett might have to start playing both ways.
Should we put Myles Garrett on the list?
Just wildcat Myles Garrett every play.
I mean, that they're going to have to do something. Like, even if they wanted to run with PJ Walker, they're going to have to do a lot more to kind of trick it up. That's the thing. Pull the tricks out, man. Do everything that you can. You can make this a grit, but that only goes so far, right? Like this weekend, right? You got to play the Pittsburgh Steelers here at First Energy Stadium. For one game, you can try the reverses. You can put Elijah Moore there at Wildcat. You can put David Njoku back. You can kind of try all of that stuff. That works for a game. And then I still have 7 more to go after that. And right now, the issue is right now, this Sunday, you're starting PJ Walker. You're not bringing anybody in today. Now, next week and the week after that and kind of moving forward, we'll see. But this weekend against the Steelers, you have PJ Walker in there. Because we need this morning, right now. If they could somehow do it this Sunday, you're at home. It's still just Kenny Pickett. Yeah, that Steelers defense is really good, but dude, I'm scheming up all this crazy stuff. Like, if they could just somehow get it done and maybe keep that belief rolling, you maybe got a shot at it. Now, again, the grand scheme of all of this is if you limp yourself into the playoffs, what are you going to do, right? We all had grander expectations of all of this. Tanking doesn't even help you on that first-round pick. You have no choice but to go try to win these games. It benefits you nothing to not play and not try to win. Like, you're not a team that's stuck at 5-5 and go, all right, well, if we just tank it on out, we'll get a top 10 pick at least. You don't even have that going for you. There's a positive out of this. You have no choice but to go win these games. You might as well go give it a try. Can I talk Kevin Stefanski for a second? You better bring him back next year. I don't care how this goes the rest of the way out. There's Stefanski haters. There's Stefanski defenders. In a way, this Deshaun Watson injury has given Kevin Stefanski a reprieve. Because now there are no expectations the rest of the season. You can't hold that against him. Ryan, if you went 1-7, or I keep saying 8 games. Am I screwing up here? No, we have 9 games in the season. We have 8 left. You go 2-6 on the way out. That would normally ask you to fire your head coach. What did you want him to do? Seriously. And I'm not trying to turn this into a Stefanski thing. I'm not saying that this is something that this is the main focus. And yeah, unload all of this onto his desk. Like, all of this is now on his plate to figure all this out. And there could be some positives. There could be some, but at the end of the day, just with this, I'm sitting here today. There's no way that you can pile this on to Kevin Stefanski. I think the biggest, anger, the thing that I'm most upset about right now is this is another wasted year. And we saw this, when Joe Thomas and our friend Josh Cribbs and Joe Hayden, and when you had the good players here, Phil Dawson, right? You didn't have to worry about those positions. You never had to draft a left tackle for 10 years. But you wasted his career because you didn't get everything else right. And then I look at the Browns now. You have a generational pass rusher in Myles Garrett. I know Nick Chubb is hurt. I want to talk Nick Chubb this morning. We'll get to him later. Had the surgery, but he'll be back. You have the best guard tandem in football. That came from Mike Tomlin himself and Wyatt Teller and Joe Bitonio. You have Denzel. You have all these players. But what have you done? Wasted their careers. And this is a season now when you thought you finally put it all together. You finally had everything in the right position. You had the right players and the right scheme. And this comes down the pipe that Deshaun Watson's out for the year. And there's no, I just, rotten bad luck, I guess. But that's where my anger is for everything that I was excited about for this season, for everything that we expected for this season. It just got flushed down the toilet. And I'm trying to stay positive. My way to rationalize this, or my way to cope, I guess, is to try to believe that there's still a path, right? Because at 6-3, what did I ask for? 10 wins. Okay, you have 8 games left. I need you to go 500. But does that not seem like Mount freaking Everest right now? Does 4-4 on the way out, even with the Bears on that schedule, even with the Rams on that schedule, even with the Jets on Thursday Night Football late, does that not seem like an insurmountable mountain to climb right now? It does. But 4-4, like, I'm trying to find that path. I'm trying to say, find a way to say, 4 wins, man. Like, the Bears aren't very good. We saw that. And if this defense, like, again, to this level of this defense, I guess it's not outlandish. It's not crazy. And to be fair, because I have a lot of the tweets at Matt Fontana 83. Follow us at Matt Fontana Show. I know we have a lot of new people joining us right now this morning. We appreciate you with us this morning here on the Matt Fontana Show. Hey, man, PJ Walker won a couple of those games. He did win some. Okay. My issue with Walker was that I didn't think you won those games because of him. I thought you maybe won those games despite him. And you snuck up on the 49ers, and the Colts game was like fluky. Listen, the Browns are not going to go winless on the way out. I will tell you that. I would put money on that right now. The Browns are not going to lose every single game on the way out. They are too good everywhere else to do that. The question is, can they get to that magical 10 wins? The wins that I feel like are there. Let me paint you a little bit of a better picture now here, Ryan. The path has become easier. Buffalo, they're in the rearview mirror right now. The Bengals, you're telling me, hey, well, wait a minute now. Tomorrow night, you had better damn well be rooting for the Baltimore Ravens. This has now flipped to tomorrow night as a must-win game for the Baltimore Ravens. You have got to get Cincinnati out of this wild card race. Because now, with this change, the AFC North South, I will tell everybody, Ryan, what was our question going to be this morning? Who is in the driver's seat for the AFC North? I swear to God, look at our rundown this morning. That was going to be our question. Who's in the driver's seat for the AFC North? That is now out the window. I need Baltimore to go win the division, and I need them to beat Cincinnati tomorrow night. That is now a must-win game for the Browns for the Ravens to win. And then I think they have one more game against the Steelers, right? We need them out, too. That's another thing for Sunday. Dude.
Matt, currently trending on Twitter, we got Cleveland Browns, Baker Mayfield, Jacoby Brissett, Andrew Berry, Tom Brady, and Matt Ryan. We got some early suggestions from the Twitter poll.
I'm open to it, please.
Great Scott says Tom Brady. Aaron Goldspammer says Joe Flacco.
Flacco available.
The White Album says Roethlisberger. And then John Maddie says Uncle Rico.
Would have won. A coach just put me in the game. Would have won. Okay, the Don Strock thing for an older generation, yes, I've got a lot. Do you know about Don Strock?
No.
So there was a year that this kind of happened for the Browns. They lost like all their quarterbacks. They called Don Strock off a golf course. He literally got the phone call like on the golf course, came back in. His wife said, the Cleveland Browns are signing. You better go to Cleveland. Oh, man. Yeah, this is now on Twitter. Tom Brady would have to sell the Raiders. He'd have to sell his portion of the Raiders. He can't come back. He can't.
Nick says, our guy Nick Padone says, what if we give him 1% of the team and 2% if he wins the Super Bowl?
Well, you can't be an owner and play.
I think after, though. But I don't know if you could contractually do that.
Oh, shout out to Brittany. Danny Cunningham, good friend of mine, former coach of mine, his lovely fiance. Can I get you a little Cam Newton?
That'd be interesting.
I'd go sign Cam. I'd do Cam. Here are the list of quarterback. I just a quick search on practice squads. And I limit it to guys that have actually played in the NFL. Jeff Driscoll, Trace McSorley, former Cleveland Brown David Blau, former Cleveland Brown Kellen Mond, Ben DiNucci, Trevor Siemian, Jake Fromm, and A.J. McCarron. Those are the guys on practice squads. I tried to do a quick list of guys that are on the street right now. I couldn't quite get it. So this was from 2 weeks ago of quarterbacks, free agent quarterbacks. So walk me through this, Ryan. Tell me I'm crazy if any of these guys or whatever. Carson Wentz was number 1. He is now signed in LA, right?
Yep.
Okay. Number 2, Matt Ryan. No. Colt McCoy did get cut by the Arizona Cardinals. Joe Flacco, Nick Foles, Trevor Siemian did get signed with the Jets practice squad. E.J. Perry, Jake Luton. Oh, God. I'm going to be sick.
What's Colin Kaepernick doing? Is it time to get him back in the league?
I swear to God, I'm open to every option. There is no option that I would not entertain. A.J. McCarron, Cam Newton, Colin Kaepernick, anything.
Listen, I watched...
Who's in the Canadian League? Can you get somebody out of the Canadian League?
I watched Joe Flacco torch us for years at this point. Who was the quarterback for the Jets when they beat us with like?
Oh yeah, it was Joe Flacco. I was standing on the sidelines. I'll never forget that game. I was doing sideline engineering with Gerard doing the sideline stuff. Is now a good time to kind of make my announcement? I will be back on the Browns pregame on Sunday. Maybe it's my fault. I'm feeling it. I'll be back in on the Browns pregame on Sunday, 9 to 11. I know, it's my fault. Dude, here's the thing. I got the call a couple of days ago. I was waiting to tell everybody. And I was so excited because, like, you know, my prior stop, Browns coverage is what I did. And literally, this season was the first season in 6 years outside of COVID that I wasn't at games and I wasn't at practice. So I would be telling you I miss it. You know, that was a big part of what I did and I enjoyed. So I got the call and I filled in on the radio network a lot. And they said, hey, we need you for Sunday, 9 to 11. And I'm like through the roof. I'm like, hell yeah, man. I get to go down to the game. I'm back on the air with Gerard. I get to do 9 to 11. This is great. And then here we are. So nonetheless, I will still be on 9 to 11 Sunday morning for the Browns Radio Network filling in. Let's go down this path for just a second, okay? Of all the options, dude, my phone is not stopped blowing up, which is insane.
What is Nick Foles doing?
He's available. He's fully available. Okay, I want to talk about that right now.
Well, I just kind of
what?
Totally different scenario, but kind of like when Wentz went out and then Nick Foles came in, and that was obviously years ago, but he came in and won the Super Bowl for him.
He did.
Browns have a better defense than the Eagles did that year, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, Nick Foles was a guy and I guess P.J. Walker could be Nick Foles. I go legend. Let's talk about that for a second. What do you think would be better for this team? As I start with this shocking news, Deshaun Watson's out for the season. He needs shoulder surgery. And you're talking about the rest of that locker room, the other 51 guys in that locker room, and what's best for the team. Is it more palatable to go get, and I'm just going to list these guys, your Nick Foles, your Joe Flacco's, your Cam Newtons. Those guys have the positive to say they've played in the NFL. They have actually won in the NFL, but they're probably over the hill. But they come in and they give you a little sense of security. You know what I mean? There's your security blanket. But then the other side is P.J. Walker, Dorian Thompson-Robinson. Those guys are probably better at playing quarterback than that other group, but they don't give you that security. What would you rather have? If you were a player, would you rather go with a group of P.J. Walker or Dorian Thompson-Robinson who are more athletic, can maybe make some more plays? There's a little more intrigue over here, but maybe not. I mean, I get the ceiling is like a moving one because they could come in and light it up and go crazy. Or do you go with this group of over-the-hill available guys, but they give you just a little more sense of security? I guess if I was like Myles Garrett and this happens and they go, we're bringing in Cam Newton, you would feel a little better to say, okay, Cam has played in the NFL. He's been to a Super Bowl. He's an MVP. Would you feel more confident in that to keep it afloat? Because the other part, and maybe a reason why I'm starting to go with this group over here, you have now shifted this to winning despite the quarterback. Now, the positive is the Browns defense can do that. God, do I miss Nick Chubb right now? Because if you had Nick Chubb, that would be another thing. We'll run the ball and play defense, and you'll put a quarterback in there to do what? Don't turn the football over and make some easy throws when you need it. That is still attainable. That is still something that the Browns can do. So who is the better option at quarterback to just get in there and just keep me flat? You know what I mean? I don't need you to go in there and throw for 400 yards, but I can't have you in there throwing 4 interceptions either. I just need you to be flat. Don't screw up on offense. And I'm sorry, we're going to unload everything on this defense, and we're going to have to run the ball a little bit more. That is the course of action for the Cleveland Browns. And I'm sure Kevin Stefanski didn't get a lot of sleep last night. And that is where his mindset is right now. Now, this weekend is gone. This weekend, you're starting P.J. Walker. There's no question on that. You can't bring a quarterback in right now. You need somebody that's in the system. Go ahead and start P.J. Walker. That's fine. And you will come out of that game on Sunday or Monday and have another evaluation of P.J. Walker. The Browns don't, I mean, here's the other thing too. The sky's falling right now. You don't need an answer right now, right? It's not like the NFL came to you and said, hey, you have 1 hour to decide if you want to sign Cam Newton or Nick Foles or whoever. You don't have that. So this week, you put all your effort into getting P.J. Walker ready to go, and you head to the game Sunday. I'm sure come Monday or probably even this week, do you ever see the transcripts of the workouts in the NFL? Like Aaron Wilson, he covers the Texans, but he goes league-wide. And every week, he sends out the list of workouts and visits. I would imagine that the Cleveland Browns will have a list of 8 guys that are all quarterbacks coming in for a workout or a visit. You don't have to do that right now, though. Like, right now, the focus has got to be on the Steelers. As big as that mountain seems to be to climb, you've got to focus on the Steelers and try to find a way to somehow beat them on Sunday. You're at home, okay? Then you can get to the real conversation. Can we ride this out with P.J. Walker? Can we keep this going? Or do we need to go get a list of these guys that are out there? That's going to be on to Andrew Berry. That's going to be on to Kevin Stefanski. Because, you know, to back to your Nick Foles and Carson Wentz comparison, which is not off on this thing. Nick Foles came in and actually played well, right? I don't necessarily need that, which is crazy. I would just need a guy to come in here and just fill the position. And I know that you can't, it's not easy to win in the NFL if you can't throw for 200 yards. But it's not easy to win when you don't have Deshaun Watson at quarterback either. You're in this pickle. It's the best you're going to do. That's the other part of it. I just now need the best that I can do. And if that's limping into the playoffs, like, I think that's the hardest part of this, Ryan. I had, like, dreams and, you know, like even Sunday. I just want to beat the hell out of the Steelers. Get back in the AFC North race. That's what we feel like we lost today. You feel like you lost everything. And there's still 8 games to go, which sucks. But all the hype, all the belief, and all the things that we've been waiting for it to pay off. I don't apologize for being a Browns fan. I love being a Browns fan. I am very proud to say that I'm from Cleveland. I'm very proud that my parents raised me and my brothers. I'm proud that my wife and I are raising our children to be Browns and Guardians and Cavs fans and Ohio State fans. I had to throw that in there. Because that's how I was raised. And I'm proud to be a fan of this team. And I never won't be. I will always be a fan. And we've gone through so much. What have we ever just wanted? For it to pay off. What does everybody say? A Super Bowl in Cleveland will mean that much more. Just one. Because of what we've all gone through. Why we feel so bad this morning is because we felt like we were finally going to get the payoff. We finally felt like this was the team. This was it. For all the years that we had been fans, for everything that we had gone through. And yeah, the playoff win against Pittsburgh a couple of years ago, that came crashing. We felt like it was finally time for us. Like we are, again, I don't believe in the karma thing, but we're owed so much. We are owed so much as fans. And that is why we all feel so crappy this morning. is because our opportunity to finally get that payoff as a fan is probably gone. It's probably out the window. We are discrediting that they can't do something, right? We're discrediting that this is just, we're cooked. And we can do that this morning. I can tell you that's not what that team is doing. That team is saying we have got to find a way to go out there and be competitive. And if you can just stay in games, if you can just somehow stay in some games and figure it out, you'll be okay. I see a lot of bad football teams get wins. I do. How many did you ever think the Arizona Cardinals were going to beat the Dallas Cowboys? No. Now, the problem is that is sneaking up on teams. Another soundbite. Actually, do you have it? Can you pull the sound up for me real quick, Ryan? This means something completely different now that happened with Deshaun Watson. But I want to promote Come Get Some. Greg and Blake Williams. It's on Bally's with us. It's on every Monday night. And they had Rodney McLeod on this week. And Rodney talked about this being a top 5 win for him. I want you to play Greg Williams' cut, though, Ryan. So here's Coach Greg on Come Get Some Monday nights right here on Big Play, talking about where the Browns were at, again, prior to the Deshaun Watson injury.
Work that has to go in now because you shocked the rest of the NFL. You've shocked the AFC North and the Steelers coming in here. You got their attention. It won't be an easy game this week, but again, it's about going out there this weekend and looking a grown man in the eye and say, come get some. Let's get ready to roll again.
I love Coach Greg, by the way.
Damn it, Matt. That makes me want to run through
I love him. I love Coach.
I'm
Monday night.
sick to my stomach.
Don't miss it. Monday night. Here's the reason I wanted you to play that, right? Why? Coach was talking about if Deshaun Watson, you can't sneak up on anybody right now. The Browns have put everybody else on alert. Everybody in the NFL woke up this morning and saw Deshaun Watson is out. Do you know what every team is going to say when they come face the Cleveland Browns? They're still dangerous. You can't pull what Arizona did beating Dallas. You can't pull, and I can't even think of like another huge upset this year in the NFL, right? Like, okay, when the Bears and Panthers play, that doesn't count. I'm talking about a bottom-feeding team beating an upper echelon team. Even, okay, Denver, when they beat Kansas City, that would probably be the other one. Hey, wait a minute. We got a little weather coming. Maybe we just ask Mother Nature to help us out here. Turn it into a snow game here and there. Maybe we can get a fluky win there. But my whole point is, even with Watson being out, you are still going to be viewed as a dangerous team to other squads. You're still going to get their best shot. That's the other hard part facing this. You're not trying to get one game on an up and come here. You're not trying to play your one game here to play it out. People know who the Cleveland Browns are now. You're on the map. Even without Deshaun Watson. Do you know what the mantra is going to be for Pittsburgh this weekend? Bury the suckers. Bury them. You're telling me that the Steelers didn't walk into the facility this morning going, all right, here we go. Oh man, we got this game. I'm sure that they are reinvigorated to say, we're going to go bury these guys and we'll get back in the division. So you're going to get everybody's best shot. There's going to be no sneaking up on anybody, even with P.J. Walker, Dorian Thompson-Stroud, or whoever else you want to sign. That is out the window right now at this point. Oh, man. Anything else has come out? I mean, it's really just all across. Like, I guess we probably, let me do this. Let's read the statement from the Cleveland Browns. We have not done it yet this morning. So the Cleveland Browns announced this morning that Deshaun Watson will be out for the rest of the season. Here's the statement. Quote, Deshaun Watson underwent an MRI. I like how they put magnetic resonating imaging. They could have just put MRI in there. Monday on 2 injuries sustained on different plays in the first half of Sunday's win over Baltimore. Imaging on his left ankle, I like how they start with that too, revealed a high ankle sprain. In addition, post-game, Deshaun notified our medical staff of a new discomfort that he had in his right shoulder that he felt after a hit in the first half. An MRI of his right shoulder revealed a displaced fracture to the glenoid. Sounds like something else. Despite performing at a high level and finishing the game, after consulting with Dr. Voos, the head team physician, and an industry-leading shoulder expert, it's been determined this injury will require immediate surgical repair to avoid further structural damage. Deshaun will be placed on season-ending injured reserve, and a full recovery is expected for the start of the 2024 season. I'm going to do what a lot of people probably did this morning. And I'm pulling up a picture of everybody's shoulder. Oh, God. Okay. So you're glenoid. Can I send you this picture, Ryan?
Yeah, go for it.
Or just do this. Google glenoid shoulder, and can you pull it up for the people on the stream to see it? Yeah. It's basically, you know how your arm is a ball? It's a ball and socket. You have 4 of them, your 2 shoulders, your 2 hips. Where the ball of your arm goes into your shoulder, it's like under here somehow. So that seems like, oh my God. Like, I don't know, he's got to have surgery, and it's a displaced fracture. Displaced means that bone moved out of where it was supposed to be. If you've heard non-displaced fracture, that means that you splint it and then it'll heal eventually. So he's got to have surgery.
All right, Matt, it's up there.
You see it?
Yeah.
See where it says glenoid down there? Like, I mean, again, we're just playing doctor right now, but okay. What's that rehab look like? Like, now I'm worried about next year. And they say he should be fully recovered for 2024. But I'm assuming this is a surgical thing. He's not going to throw for months, right?
No.
And then I guess hopefully you get the full off season in.
Rust.
Yeah, right back to it.
Rust.
Right back to it. I mean, I'm not crying, but find me another team that lost your all-pro running back and then now also lost your quarterback and lost 2 of your offensive tackles. All-pro offensive tackle on that side, too. Richard Sherman weighed in. While there's a lot of people questioning his toughness and if he was faking it, was 14 for 14 in the second half when his team needed it, even with the injury. Sad for the Browns, but glad they figured this out before it got worse. I mean, yeah, there could be some that he played and it became like, seriously injured. Yeah, the toughness thing, I never really thought that was something that, people are kind of questioning. Shout out to Jake Burns of the OBR. He's trying to tweet out what he thinks is the injury hit, and it's one that Watson was back in the pocket. He steps up, he runs, and Patrick Queen, hits his shoulder, but it doesn't look straight on it. And Watson gets up. It's not like he got it and he's like, oh, man, something really felt crappy about it. But, I mean, at this point, it doesn't.
Yeah, it looks like he got sandwiched there.
Yeah. That's a tough one. Chris Canty on ESPN. This will go down as the worst trade in NFL history. Talking about Deshaun Watson. That's a tough one, man. That's a really hard one. Does anybody feel any better out there? Anybody feel any better about where we're at? Not really. No. He's out for the year. Where we go from here, there's going to be a lot of questions on. I mean, here's the thing. The Browns have got to do something. The Browns have got to do something at quarterback. I don't think there's any way to go. Pro Football Network, 3 options for Deshaun Watson. Cam Newton, Colt McCoy, Joe Flacco, Matt Ryan, and Colin Kaepernick, outside of P.J. Walker and Dorian Thompson-Robinson. So, we'll see.
We can't even.
I mean, there's so many other things I wanted to talk about this morning.
We can't even have one day of just positive news with Nick Chubb and the second surgery going well. 1 second of
no, and that's like, honestly, I was going to get into Nick Chubb this morning and talk about he had that second surgery, and I was going to make the case that Nick Chubb has got to be a Cleveland Brown for life, And that's the thing, for as built up as it is, or for kind of where we're at right now, it's dark right now. You don't see the light at the end of the tunnel. I completely understand that. But, there are ways. Jeremy Fowler just tweeted, the Browns have run the ball well under Kevin Stefanski. This is the second best rushing team in football. But now defense are going to go, we're not afraid of the pass. We're just going to go ahead and play the run, and we'll stop that. The job that is now on Kevin Stefanski's plate is immense. It is absolutely massive. And the same thing with Andrew Berry. Ryan, he's catching a lot of flack this morning for the Josh Dobbs trade.
I do not want to hear a second of that.
And I really want to set that aside too, because there's nothing you can do about it. But the fact is that at every turn, that has proved to be the wrong move. You grade trades all the time. You grade acquisitions all the time. This has gone from bad to worse with letting go of Josh Dobbs. And he's going to have to live with that. You never know about how injuries go, but you'd feel better if Josh Dobbs was here. You'd feel now that's all aside of what he did in Arizona and what he's doing in Minnesota. You can't look at that and use that as your anger because he wouldn't have been here or he would have been here not doing those things. So you can't then apply it. But would you feel better about Josh Dobbs and PJ Walker? Yeah, probably a little bit. So it is what it is. Like, there's nothing you can do to go back and make that trade any different. I'm sure Andrew Berry learned a little lesson on it too. These GMs. And at the time, you seemed like it was the right move. That's the hardest thing. People can't go back right now to August when everybody was telling you the virtues of Dorian Thompson-Robinson and everybody said he deserved to be the backup quarterback and they were all happy that he was. You gave him the job and you rolled snake eyes about 1,000 times in a row with making that decision. You changed the game a little bit. You changed the game just a little bit. So that's kind of where the Browns sit right now. I've not seen any more updates. We're going to get Andrew Berry a little bit later today. We'll kind of hear. We're going to just we'll piece together what we hear from him, because we're not going to carry it live. But, I mean, the questions are going to be, what exactly what went into the Dobbs trade? Like, what are you going to do with quarterback? This weekend, no question will be asked. Like, it's going to be PJ Walker this weekend, and then you will figure out what to do next week. And I expect the Browns to make a move. I expect them to go get somebody and sign something. All right, let's do this. Let's catch a break. When we come back, we'll maybe do the morning update. We'll dive back into the Watson stuff. Stay with us. Got a lot of people with us this morning. We appreciate it. Matt Fontana Show right here on Big Play. All right, back here on Big Play. Matt Fontana Show with you. We're kind of just still reacting to all of this news when it comes to Deshaun Watson being out and trying to piece it together of where we're going to go. Our Twitter question is up at Matt Fontana Show. We asked everybody, who do you want to play quarterback for the Browns moving forward? PJ Walker, Dorian Thompson-Robinson, or sign somebody else in let me do something real quick. I'll do it later. Sorry, this is really bad. I know that, but this is something serious I got to take care of. All right, we're back live. Sorry. Doing a lot of stuff this morning right here on the show. Who do you want to start for the Cleveland Browns moving forward? And right now, the early results is go sign somebody else. And I guess, yes, Tom Brady is off the list because he is an NFL owner. You can't do that. So, like, what are you going to do? All right, let's dive in the Twitter inbox here. Cam Newton has come up. We're not signing Phillip Rivers, Colt McCoy, Cam Newton. I'm seeing a lot of Cam Newton love here, which I think is good.
I am all for Cam Newton at this point.
I would tell you, of all the ones that he did, or of all the names, like, that's the one that probably would have me the most intrigued, would say, is like, what are you trying to accomplish? Now that Watson is out, what then are you going to try to... I just mentioned it. You just need your guy to stay level. You just need somebody to get in there and, frankly, not turn the football over or not try to do too much. Just keep it in there and keep it afloat. That would then lead more towards, like, the veteran guy. You don't want, like, a rookie in there. Like, PJ Walker, in essence, is a little bit of a rookie. Certainly Dorian Thompson-Robinson is. They could get in there because this is another element. Whoever you bring in at quarterback, they're going to feel the pressure and the gravity of this situation. Like, PJ Walker woke up this morning and probably felt like the weight of the Browns franchise is on our shoulders right now. And I got to go out there and play. How would he be able to handle that versus a veteran guy? All the names out there, they've been in those bigger spots. They could be able to handle that a little bit better than it would be Walker or Dorian Thompson-Robinson. And knowing, again, I'm not needing Cam Newton seems to be the one that I think we'll focus a lot of our energy on right now. And I would imagine that a lot of those agents, like a lot of people, they're calling the Browns right now. They're calling the Browns. I'm available. This guy's healthy. He's working out. He's ready to go. And I'm sure the Browns will bring in a lot of different players to work out. But going the veteran route at this point, strictly on being able to handle the situation better, to be able to handle the pressure and stepping into this role, which will not be easy to do. That will not be easy to do at all. That leans more towards sign the veteran guy. And even more so than your Colt McCoys, and I'm saying Colt's played in games, but if you go to a Flacco or you go to Foles or you go to Cam Newton, those are guys that have played in big playoff games, been to Super Bowls before. So they might be a little better equipped to handle it. Now, what's that balance of being able to handle the situation and being equipped for it versus being able to actually play on the field? And that's a balance that Andrew Berry's going to have to figure out, because I would again, this is just me guessing. I haven't seen Cam Newton work out. He would probably be the best of all of that balance. I think Cam would have the most gas left in the tank of a playing standpoint and also be able to handle the situation better. Like, would Cam Newton, who's been out of football, well, when did Cam play last? Did he play last year?
When he's back on the Panthers.
He was, but I don't think he played, right? Or did he?
He played one game. I remember he came in and scored, and he said, "I'm back."
Oh, yeah.
He was not, in fact, back.
So he did play. No, that was 2021. He didn't play at all last year. 2021, he started 5 games, went 0-5 in that. Stats are not great. I understand that. But at least he was in the NFL a couple of, and Flacco was last year. Foles was a couple years ago too. So Cam is he still only 30? He's 34. He's 34. I think he's the call. I think he's the call. He probably has a little bit of, like, again, I'm not trying to look at stats from 2 years ago when he played and he just wasn't the same. All right, here it is. Cam Newton in 2021. He started 5 games, had a completion percentage of 55, an average of 4 yards per completion, 4 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, and he ran for 5 touchdowns. He also fumbled the ball 4 times and was sacked 10 times in 8 games. So those stats are just, whatever. Like, I don't know how much you read into it. But I would think Cam would have the most on the field, but then be able to handle everything that's going on. Because that might be one of the things about P.J. Walker. In the past, when he was filling in with Watson being hurt, the game was different. The stakes were different at that point. And there was still pressure on him because you believed you were going to go places. But now the pressure is tenfold. The pressure is 1,000 times worse than it was when P.J. Walker was starting before, because you just came off your biggest win of the season. You put yourself back into contention, and now you are trying to get things figured out. And I just don't know if he's going to be able to handle that. He's never had to do that in his career. You'll start him this weekend. There is no bones about it. You will start P.J. Walker this weekend. But then from there, I'm probably going to lean towards going to sign a quarterback. Big picture, Ryan. Has this changed your outlook at all on Deshaun Watson's career here in Cleveland?
Yes, in the sense of it kind of has to, because when you're
do you feel like he's just going to get hurt all the time?
No, I wouldn't necessarily say that. But when you have a dude who's got this injury, now he's out for the rest of the year, who had that. You go back to his suspension, his first suspension when the Browns signed him. That obviously wasn't injury related. So I'm not going to, it's hard to target players as injury prone. But does it concern me about him being our franchise quarterback for the future? Yeah, it does, because that's another year of him having this quote-unquote potential rust. And then beyond just him on the surface level, that's wasting yet another year of Myles Garrett, of Denzel Ward.
Right.
We might not have Grant Delpit on the team next year. We still got to figure out what we're doing with Amari and our wide receivers. And not having momentum at the end of the season is going to 100% affect how or what we're able to do going into next season.
And that it's optics. There's a big part of that is optics and how you view it. And the Browns have no choice but to ride with Deshaun Watson. Here's the craziest thing. We're going to go into year 3 of Deshaun Watson, and he would have played 11 games for us. Year 3. I don't bring up the contract a lot because it's not my money. But you're not telling me that the Haslams are good business people.
I need someone better at math than me to do the math of his money per game right now.
I mean, I could probably do that for you right now.
I'm very stupid. I'm mathematically inept. So somebody please do that for me, because I'd love to know.
So, and that's the thing. We don't actually know all of the money that he has gotten because there's whatever. So I'm going to go off of over the cap. And I guess but see, that's the tough thing, is he's been given money already. If you looked at it just from his cap number, it's not that bad. But we know it's more than that. We know that he's gotten bonuses. Here, I'll do this for you. You want to do this? I don't think it's going to make you happy, but whatever. He had a base salary of, I'm going to say $2 million plus 9, I'm rounding here, plus 18. He got $29 million for 11 games. It's $2.6 million a game that he had played, just on his base salary and prorated bonus, let alone the guaranteed salary, which kicks in of next year of 46, 46, and 46 over the next 3 years. They keep kicking. You don't want to know what? That's another problem, too. The Browns have been playing all these games with the salary cap to move money around so they could swallow this Watson contract, and now you're not even making it, it's not even worth it, right? Like, you've moved around all this money to put yourself in these good situations, and you're not capitalizing on it. Andrew Berry's had to jump through hoops. Maybe not even signed guys. Maybe wouldn't have signed guys. I mean, that's crystal ball. That's if you'd have known the future, you probably wouldn't have made all the moves that you did or whatever. But that's the thing. You've been jumping through hoops to keep this salary palatable, and then you're not taking advantage of it. And then I think about, what other players could have been out there that you signed that you didn't because you were saving money for Watson to pay off. So that's the world that we live in, man. That is exactly the world that we live in. You don't know when injuries are going to start. You don't know when they crop up. And it's the quarterback. Like, we all felt despair when Nick Chubb went down. This is different. This is different because it's your quarterback. And then back to our topic here of the bigger picture, the overall health of the Browns franchise. How can you be confident that Deshaun Watson's your franchise guy? He has not played, and when he does, the majority of the time, he's looked bad. Chris Canty said this morning on ESPN after the news broke that this was the worst trade in NFL history. You have nothing to say no to that right now. You have nothing to stand on to say, well, we got it. What? When he's played, he's looked bad. And I was dude, that second half, I go, yes, finally. The tides are starting to turn. We're starting to see the Deshaun Watson that we expected for, frankly paid for, and started turning the ship here a little bit. Well, what's one of the old sayings in football, Ryan? When the injuries start, they don't stop. And the doctors could tell me he's going to have surgery and he'll be just fine, and come next season, you won't have a problem with it. I'll wait to see. I will wait to see how this plays out. Because I have a real concern now that he's just going to be hurt moving forward. Like, you can't operate that way. I know for the Browns, they can't do that. They need to keep chugging ahead. They need to keep soldiering on. They need to keep pushing forward and try to, but you are reevaluating every bit of this Deshaun Watson trade. The only course of action right now, get him healthy, and he's playing next season. And hope for the best. But that's the other problem of it. Even if he comes back fully healthy next year and plays to a decent level, this defense is not going to be the same. You mentioned it, Ryan. Grant Delpit might not be here. Why all the teams change so much. And sometimes it is catching lightning in a bottle. That you catch the perfect team that you just put together. You got rookies playing well. You got all these players coming together, and you've wasted the season now. You have completely wasted the season because of an injury. And for as much as you try, okay, I'm going to be really negative right now. Look at the Jets. They're in a similar situation to us. They lost their quarterback. Now, granted, they did it 8 plays into the season. I guess there's some pros and cons to that. The pros are they could have made a trade if they wanted to. They rolled with Zach Wilson, fine. The pro for the Browns, we banked a lot of wins and put ourselves in this situation. The Jets are a very good team outside of Zach Wilson, right? Does anybody think that they're going to go anywhere? No. Because they don't have a quarterback. Now, you could try to... There's 2 ways that this is going to go. You're either going to be the Jets, or you could be the Minnesota Vikings. And the Minnesota Vikings have found a way at this point to win some games and keep the momentum high. There are people that'll say Josh Dobbs will come crashing down back to earth. That's not even a rocket scientist joke. It's just the phrase that I use. I'm sorry. They'll expect him to come back down to earth a little bit. And then we'll have that conversation. But the Minnesota Vikings lost their guy, and they've found a way to piece it together. You could go that route. Can you do it with PJ Walker, though?
No.
Probably not.
Like
Probably
you said,
not.
You can't emphasize this enough. You go look at a team like, and this is different because the 49ers have way more weapons on offense than the Browns do. But a guy like Brock Purdy, and maybe he will turn out to be the superstar, but we all know about him right now. The whole narrative is he's this average quarterback with a loaded team, a great defense, and he didn't turn the ball over for those first 5 games of the season, and they went 5-0. The Browns need a quarterback to give us average play, even it out. Just don't turn the frickin' ball over. And Matt, Jake Trotter, ESPN shout out. Browns had a 78.3% chance to make the playoffs. They still now drop, but have a 63% chance to make the playoffs.
Sure, and that's projected on the FPI. So they're in a position they need to go 4-4 on the way out. They need to go 4-4 on the way out. And is that possible? Sure. Is it likely? I don't know. And when I look at like the options to do that, I'm still going back to a guy that is just going to be the even keel, can handle this situation. They got to go sign a quarterback. They got to go sign a quarterback. And they'll start PJ Walker this weekend. And then from there, I need somebody else that's better equipped to handle this situation. Okay? We had a lot of things move. Let's catch another break real quick. When we come back, we'll get more into the Browns. I think there's other things we'll talk about eventually, but we're going to be Browns heavy the rest of the way out. Stay with us. Fontana Show right here on Big Play. Back right after this. We have a little turn on the Tom Brady side of things. Welcome back. Matt Fontana. No, the Browns are not signing Tom Brady right now as much as I want that. Shout out to Tony Grossi. I love Tony. I worked with Tony for years. He tweeted out about a Tom Brady, and somebody said he's an owner. And he goes, his ownership stake has not been approved by the NFL yet. You could sign Tom Brady. Now, the problem is, have you seen Tom Brady lately? He's not in football shape. He's in like midlife crisis, divorced dad, which is actually kind of what he is, shape. Like he's ripped right now. I don't think he's in football shape. So I don't really know if he's an option, but he's still kind of that group of that we talk about. for the Cleveland Browns moving forward. Welcome back. We wake up this morning to the bad news that the Browns will be without Deshaun Watson for the rest of the season. He has suffered a broken bone in his shoulder. He's going to have surgery. He'll be out for the rest of the year. And beyond the shock and the anger, because it was funny, people said I said I was going to try to be more positive here in hour 2. Ryan, let's do that right now. I wish I had something like, is there a voodoo doll somewhere? Is there something going on? Did they bury something at that stadium?
We got to go dig, Matt, because this
is that like a burial ground or something? Is there some bad juju down there at the stadium or something?
Somewhere.
I don't know.
And just the fact that we are facing the
I know.
7-3. If the Steelers are 7-3, I will pull every follicle of my hair from my skull.
So here we are. Let's turn it to a positive mindset right now here on the show. And let us all just focus on what the Browns can do moving forward. Number one, do you want to make a list of positivity? Do you want to make a list?
Let's do it.
It's like things that we're happy about. You know what I mean? Okay. You know why I'm laughing? Because I said we were going to do a list of positivity. I just pulled out my picks from last week. I went 3-8-1. We're going to be positive. I pull out my notebook that has our picks, and I had an atrocious weekend on the picks with Tipico. Let's turn the page, if you will, Ryan, to a list of positivity. We're going to tweet this out. We're going to tweet out this list of positivity. Number 1, defense. You have one of the best defenses in football. They can change games. You look to that Colts game, and yes, it was one game. They can win by forcing turnovers and sometimes forcing touchdowns. That will change what Jim Schwartz is going to try to do, right? This Deshaun Watson injury impacts everything, every single thing on this team. So you're going to now look at Jim Schwartz, and I'll just give you a scenario, right? Short fields, what he calls on third downs, or what changes he will make to really stymie offense. And I'm not saying that the defense has not been playing well, because they have, but it's going to change how Jim Schwartz, he is going to have to get a little more risky. DBs, linebackers, you are going to have to go for interceptions. You're going to have to try to punch that football out. Now, there's the flip side to it, and I don't want people to get mad at it, because I fully expect that change to happen. They're going to have to start ball hawking a little bit more. They are going to have to find a way to make the plays, turn the football over, and get it back to Deshaun Watson when you can. So the number one thing you have going for you is defense. Number 2, you are the second best run game in the NFL. And I'm going to put number 3. Do you want to put offensive line on this list, or do you count that as the run game?
Count it as the run game.
All right, run game, O-line. Okay? So that is number 2. You are averaging 150 yards per game on the ground. And you have done that with Kareem Hunt and Jerome Ford. Here's the crazy thing. Amari Cooper was your best offensive player. And I say was because you're like, he's not anymore. No, he still is in his own right. But if he doesn't have the same quarterback throwing him the football, I think that changes a little bit. And I'll get to that take in a second. So then I would look and I would say that, again, David Njoku also impacted by not having Deshaun Watson out there. So then you turn and you say, okay, Kareem Hunt and Kareem Hunt and Jerome Ford would be next up on that list. And I feel pretty good. I feel pretty good about those guys running the football. So that's number 2. Can I get to Amari Cooper? And here's what I'm doing. And I should have added this up earlier. Okay. Of the games that Amari Cooper has played, these are his stat lines of the games without Deshaun Watson. 1 reception, 16 yards against Baltimore. That was Dorian Thompson-Robinson. San Francisco, 4 catches, 108, Indy, 2 for 22. Seattle, 6 for 89. Then with Watson, 98 yards last week against Baltimore, 139 against Arizona, 90 against Pittsburgh, 116 against Tennessee. What I was going to try to do was make the case to say Amari Cooper didn't fall off that much with Dorian Thompson-Robinson and P.J. Walker. I don't know if I could quite make that case, Ryan.
It's no secret. It does not take a rocket scientist to understand the concept in the NFL that receivers can make quarterbacks better, and then even more so vice versa, quarterbacks.
But the door swings more open of quarterbacks making receivers better.
Absolutely.
The second coming of Calvin Johnson could walk through that door, and it's still going to be P.J. Walker. You know what I mean? Of Amari Cooper's 5 best games this season, 4 of them came with Deshaun Watson at quarterback. So I was going to try to say that it was Amari Cooper. It's not. All right, positivity, number 3. You have been without Watson before. You played games without him. That has now prepared you for this situation. This is not something that it's sprung on you, or you have a book, and sometimes I know that book doesn't look great. That book can kind of be, okay, did you watch P.J. Walker in those games? Did you watch Dorian Thompson-Robinson? But staying all positive right now, you have had a look of what this offense is without Deshaun Watson. So that's number 3. Number 4. Your schedule on the way out is not extremely daunting. Of the hardest games that you are going to play, you got the 49ers out of the way. You got the Seahawks out of the way. You have both Ravens games out of the way. You have 8 games left. Steelers, Broncos, Rams, Jags, Bears, Texans, Jets, Bengals. So of those 4, of those 8, the Steelers, the Jags, the Texans, and the Bengals are 4 teams that I think are really good. You are facing 4 teams, which, again, Broncos are resurgence right now. We'll see. That game is at Mile High. You are on the road to L.A., which I think the Browns are just staying out there for that week. And then you have home games against the Jags, the Bears, and the Jets. The schedule, we would really be in trouble if you still had the 49ers and the Seahawks on the back end of this schedule and one more Ravens game to go. Staying positive, it's not the easiest schedule on the way out, Ryan, but the schedule it's okay. It's not the hardest. It's not going to be super easy, but there's a way out with the schedule. Anything else on our list of positivity that we're trying to grasp in this whole thing?
I'm just beyond.
I know. That's why we're all angry.
Matt, I was going to come on the show and
we're
I was
all
going to stake
angry.
my claim. The Browns beat the Steelers on Sunday. They're winning the AFC North. I truly, truly believe that. And now everything has just gone out the window.
I know. Trust me, I'm just as frustrated as everybody. Josina Anderson, a source on Watson's shoulder medically not being permitted to play, even though Watson wanted to push through it if it were possible. There's too much long-term risk to his shoulder. You could play at any other position, but you can't throw with that shoulder injury that he has. So they're making the right call on his future. You got $230 million all racked up in it. You better do it. The Browns went all in on Deshaun Watson. This is from Ari Mirivov. He does the sports update. Browns went all in on Deshaun Watson. They restructured his contract to bring his cap hit down to $19 million for the season. Watson's cap hit for the next 3 years is $63.9 million. Here's the issue. And I know we were staying positive, but now we're not. We thought Deshaun Watson would be the long-term quarterback and here for 10 years. So they would continue to push that money back. Now, do you wonder if you got to get out of this, all of that game playing of the money is out the window. You're going to have to pay the piper. then do you know what that means, Ryan? Rebuild. The Browns were setting up all the money for Deshaun Watson, that over 10 years, they would continually be able to push the money back, be able to play with the money. That goes to hell in a handbasket if you need to get rid of him. And the Browns gambled that they were not going to get rid of him. There's still a world that they don't, right? There's a world that he comes out next year and he's everything that you wanted him to be. But now, more than ever, the door is open for them having to vacate this contract and have to eat a lot of that money and put yourself in salary cap hell. And when you're in salary cap hell, do you know the only way out of that is a full-on rebuild? You got to cut guys left and right, and you got to not sign these players in free agency, and that's what you got to deal with. And that is exactly what you're going to have to deal with. The Browns, more than anything, have put every chip that they had in on Deshaun Watson, and he will have played 11 games coming up on 3 years for the Cleveland Browns. Really 2 years, going into year 3 for the Browns. All right, so Andrew Berry is speaking. We're going to piece together everything with what we got. Andrew Berry said that this is a new injury for Deshaun Watson. So this sounds like this is not, it doesn't really, you don't really think about, like, okay, so with it being a new injury, the old injury didn't impact it potentially. So that's coming out from Andrew Berry right now. He's speaking. Disappointed and devastated for Watson, especially since what he's gone through and how well he's played with the most recent injury. So again, Barry speaking now. We can't carry it live. It's a new injury in the second quarter of the Baltimore game. Expected after surgery to be back for next season. So it sounds like the start of the season for Watson, which would be good. Second quarter kind of lines up with that video that, oh God, who was it that retweeted it? Jake Burns. Jake Burns sent it out and said that it sounds like it was that play. He stepped up and he got kind of hit on the shoulder. Andrew Berry on Deshaun Watson. It's such a testament to his physical and mental toughness. Was already dealing with the high ankle sprain, and then on top of the shoulder, injured that and played out and finished the rest of the game there. Berry does say they expect Watson to be ready for the start of the 2024 season. Berry also said that medical experts have said this injury typically restricts the ability to throw because of pain, and Watson dealt with it for 2 quarters. I mean, that was something that was bigger on the first one where everybody was like, oh, the injury, the pain. And people wanted to question. Sorry, I got to plug my laptop in before it dies. In the middle of Watson breaking news with Andrew Berry and Matt's computer dies. People wanted to try to make some case about Watson's toughness, you know, in that first game or in the first injury. I don't think that's fair because how do you know how tough a guy is? Nobody does. And there's all these examples. People like, oh, you know, he won or he got on the bus with a rib injury. He played through this knee injury, all that other kind of stuff. That wasn't something that I really ever read into. But the physical limitations of throwing is what's necessitating this surgery. And we saw that from some people earlier that at another position, you might be able to play through this. It's just the pain associated with throwing is going to be what the problem is. Andrew Berry on overcoming adversity. We have an organization that's grown Teflon skin and cast iron stomachs. There's a coach speak there for you. We're going to have another obstacle to overcome as we go forward for the remaining games, 8 games of the season. This is an incredible challenge and opportunity for this organization. I would say that that is a factual statement 100% right there. And yeah, I mean, that's going to be the thing. They've got to come together to find the path towards victory. And week in and week out, that might have to change. And they might have to do some crazy, weird things that we've talked about and scheme it up and reverses and all that other kind of stuff. That could work for a little while. But the consistency and the easy thing of leaning on your quarterback to win games kind of is what it is. Can you add one more thing to our level of positivity, Ryan? The weather's going to change. You had the tweet at the bottom there. The weather is going to change, and that should help. You get some scummy games up there at First Energy Stadium. Going to ask Mother Nature and the lake to help us out on a couple of games. You could get that done. You can get that done for sure. Andrew Barron, who's going to start on Sunday? Kevin will address that later today. I mean, it's got to be P.J. Walker. Or do you turn it over to Dorian Thompson-Robinson? Who would you rather see Sunday, Ryan? Dorian Thompson? Of just these two. I know we're both on the same trade that they got to go sign a quarterback, and I think they will. But if you had to pick one of those two guys for Sunday, P.J. Walker or Dorian Thompson-Robinson, who would you take?
I'm taking P.J. Walker just in the sense that we won those 2 games without him. Steelers, their offense is abysmal. If we can just limit the turnovers, but I don't know. P.J. Walker is such a one-read quarterback, and he's the gunslinger, right? It works out, but when it doesn't, it all goes bad. We just need to not turn the ball over. We're at home. Our defense is elite, and the Steelers' offense is so bad. Kenny Pickett is so bad. I don't know how we're still favored in this game. So I would throw out P.J. Walker. Just tell him, man, don't lose us this game. We don't need you to win it for us. Just keep the ball on our side, let our defense do our thing, and let's just get another divisional win, and then let's just hope to cruise to the playoffs. And if it's the wild card, which is likely going to be, just get us there, man.
Andrew Berry said they are going to add a quarterback. He said, we will add a quarterback at some point in the near future. We'll not say if it's active squad or practice squad. Won't get into the specifics. The Browns will have an open roster spot as soon as they put, Watson, I think, is officially on IR. So they're going to add a quarterback. We hope it'll be one of the veteran guys. Barry said Watson didn't feel the broken shoulder until the second half. Huh. That's kind of weird. But because I would imagine that Watson fighting through the shoulder injury like he did, his shoulder just doesn't feel good in general. Got hit, played through it, and then in the second half goes, wait a minute, something else feels a little bit weird. Barry said this injury is not related to his previous shoulder injury. It's completely new and has nothing to do with the rotator cuff strain that kept him out for a month. That's a level of positivity. Because I said in the first hour, I said there was no way that I couldn't put couldn't say that these two things were not related. I guess they weren't. Andrew Barron not adding an insurance quarterback at the trade deadline. We felt good about the room before this new injury. Deshaun was completely healthy and injuries happen. The anger at the trade deadline is not where people are focusing this morning. They're angry at the Josh Dobbs thing. The not adding one at the trade deadline, that's one side of it. That Watson was coming back healthy. You're good. But the trading away of Josh Dobbs, I think, is where a lot of people really take the issue with it.
Yeah, Andrew Berry, he was asked if he regrets the Dobbs trade in the preseason.
Oh, he did? Okay.
And he says that he's not focused on it.
I'm really not focused on that right now. We have a lot of confidence in our quarterback room. There will be a time for reflection that's really not top of mind right now. Dude, Andrew Berry's a human being, as the rest of us are. That crossed his mind a few times. That has crossed his mind more than once. People will want their pound of flesh. You're not going to get it. It was a mistake. It was a mistake because you know how it played out, but it was not a mistake at the time. So can you really hold that against him? I don't know. I don't think so. Yeah, I mean, that's really kind of where we're at right now with Barry. He said the focus is on the current quarterback room. They are going to add a third quarterback, but the focus, because again, you can't add one for this weekend. There's no way that you could get somebody in here for this weekend to be able to play and get ready to go. Now I'm seeing videos of quarterbacks that have worked out or are working out there for some people to sign. They'll get somebody in here. I think they'll sign somebody on Monday because they'll have the open roster spot. Why not? Yeah. Barry on if he'll acquire a vet in a creative way that's on somebody else's roster. Our focus is on our current roster. What creative way? Like the NFL, okay. Like the Browns can't trade for any quarterback. The trade deadline is passed. So what would you do? Get to a team and say, hey, put this guy on waivers and hope that you can pick him up? That the NFL would step right in. That's collusion. You can't do that. And all you have right now The only thing you have right now is practice squad guys and guys on the street. That's it. If somehow, some miracle, somebody else got dropped, then yeah, maybe you're having a different conversation. But they also got to go through waivers, and the Browns are a really good team. They're down on the waiver order. Barry wouldn't go into specifics of recovery time for Watson, but he said he'll be back for next season. He will be back for next season, according to Andrew Barry. The prognosis for his recovery is positive, and said he will not need surgery on the rotator cuff issue. So he needs surgery for this displaced fracture, but he won't need surgery on the other one. This came out from Mike Florio. Watson reportedly wanted to be, quote, shot up and play through his shoulder injury. I mean, again, I'm not questioning Deshaun Watson's toughness. I frankly have never done that. I just was always confused on the shoulder injury. The first one was it a medical clearance or was it an injury pain thing? And we never got that answer. So he wanted to play through this. Well, he can't. And they're saving their investment, right? They believe folks, make no mistake. The best path for the Cleveland Browns is still Deshaun Watson playing well next year. To do that, you got to have the surgery and you got to play it out the way it is. Andrew Barry on whether they feel compelled to find a veteran quarterback to pair with the roster. We'll always be open-minded, but our focus is still on the guys in the room. Adds they'll never say no to an option that makes the team better. We know the list of guys that make this team better, that are a little bit better than PJ Walker. So we'll just put it that way. Will they get one of those guys? We'll see. Andrew Barry said, we feel good about Deshaun. He's smart. He's physically tough. He's mentally tough. He's the leader of this team, and they remain confident in him to get back in 2024 and excited to get him back in 2024 because that's where we're at. Your only path to victory is still through Deshaun Watson. It is still through Deshaun Watson coming back off of this injury. My fear is it's going to be, is this, like, again, once injuries start, is this something that's always going to be nagging? Is this always something he's going to have to fight through? We'll see. So again, from the team, they have to exude that confidence in him. And it's not the end of the world. Guys have gotten season-ending injuries and moved on. The thing that makes this so hard is everything that led up to it. Ryan, if Deshaun Watson had played in every single game, you were 6-3, and he was having an average year, I actually think, I mean, you would say that this would hurt worse. But part of the issue this morning is we don't know if he's going to be it. Like, the Browns are saying this, that he'll be back for 2024, and we're excited and confident that he's going to be our franchise quarterback moving forward. That's all they can say this morning, because that's the only path that they have. If he had shown us in 9 games that he was the franchise and that he played well, we'd wake up this morning to this news still feeling sick to our stomach, but have a little more optimism on how they're going to approach next year. This is why this is the perfect blank storm. That's why this is the perfect storm that it is. Because I don't have the confidence that he's the guy. I said that about the game on Sunday. All Sunday's game in the second half showed me was my expectations were right for Deshaun Watson. It didn't mean that they were met. It only meant that I was right to place the bar high, and that I wanted those expectations met, and they have not been, and now you factor in this injury. If Deshaun Watson had balled out for 9 games, I'd be feeling a little different today. Okay, so now Barry is pouring water on he wanted to get shot up with the medicine and play. Andrew Barry said, oh no, I'm sorry. He said it's true that Watson tried to keep playing through the injury even after he found out about the break. That tells you what you need to know about him. It's true. Deshaun Watson wanted to keep playing even though he was told surgery was necessary. But as positioned with the amount of throwing he has to do, the injury could have gotten worse per the doctors. So Watson did try to fight through the injury. I commend him for that. And I know that people really jump on the, what Brady Quinn had to say, and then he got the money, and then he was just sitting back on it. I mean, I'll give Deshaun Watson a lot of credit for that, for trying to fight through it. Because you got to imagine the other side of this, which we have not talked about all morning. How do you, what you feel, how did Deshaun Watson feel this morning when he got that news? When he's got to walk into that locker room and face his guys, and probably knowing what he feels like he let him down. He felt like, that's got to be gut-wrenching for him. That's really hard for him to have to deal with that, too. I think Barry is about wrapped up. Let me see here. I don't see the video stream anymore, so I think he might be done.
Yeah, for those who didn't see Deshaun Watson's tweet about 3 hours ago.
I did not see that.
7:13 a.m. He tweeted, "Father, thank you that whether your promise is fulfilled in my life today or years from now, you will bring it to pass in your perfect time. Thank you that I too can say, God, give me this mountain. I declare that every giant, every obstacle that stands in the way will be conquered in Jesus' name. Amen."
I mean, I appreciate a man of faith. I do. So, Barry is still going. So we'll, unrelated, kind of the same stuff that he's been brought up before. So, all right, let's do this. Let's catch our final break of the morning. We'll tell you about our great friends at Tipico. We love very much. We will get, I'll just have to drown myself with some Cavs bets for tonight, Ryan. We'll get to that. We'll also get to our bracket, kind of wrap up what's been a really tough morning for us right here on the show in relation to all the things going on with Deshaun Watson. So we'll do that. Download Tipico. Big Play 200, a brand new code out there for everybody to download with Tipico. We'll tell you about that when we return. Stay with us. Today's one of those rare days, man. I've had a few in my career where everything gets ripped up. You're going to remember where you were at a little bit. With the Browns announcing Deshaun Watson's going to be out for the year, Andrew Berry still speaking in his press conference. Really a lot of the same stuff. We'll recap everything here in a second. We'll get to our bracket. We'll get to our typical bets for tonight. Cavs are in action against Portland. I'll tell you what, real quick. Cavs should win by a lot tonight against the Portland Trail Blazers. They suck. Let me go get to Tipico real quick. Get you the line for tonight. Use that code BIGPLAY200 now when you sign up with Tipico. A brand new code for us. You get those bonus bets when you sign up. You can play along with us all season long right here on the NBA. So for tonight, Cavs are a 10.5-point favorite against the Trailblazers. Book it. Take the Cavs. I kind of like the under in that game too, but we'll see. Book it tonight, 10 o'clock tip. Bet with us all season long right here in Tipico using that code BIGPLAY200. Let's recap the big points that we have from Andrew Berry. Number one, Deshaun Watson's shoulder injury is not related to his prior injury. This was something completely different. Break required surgery. Number two, Watson tried to play through the pain. Even when he was told that shoulder or surgery was required, he wanted to be shot up with the pain medication and play through it. The issue is the injury could get worse and it could impact his future. They need to have surgery right away. Number three, they are going to add a third quarterback. It doesn't mean right now. He would not announce who the starter is. He said he would defer to Kevin Stefanski later today to announce who the starter is between Dorian Thompson-Robinson and PJ Walker, but that they will add a third quarterback in the near future. We've run through the list of guys that are available. We will see. Number four, Deshaun Watson will be back for the 2024 season. Sounds to be, expected for the start of the season after the surgery. Full off season remains to be seen, but we'll see. And then number five, as we knew they would be, they're all in on Deshaun Watson. And Jack Duffin, friend of the show, writes for OBR that there's a world that the Browns actually redo his contract again next year and then sign him to an extension beyond that. They put everything in on Deshaun Watson. And they have no option but to ride this out. They have not afforded themselves this. And if you look back and you would say, okay, if they wouldn't have given him $230 million fully guaranteed, if the money was different, sure. But I also kind of subscribe to, Ryan, you've made your bed. You have no choice but to lay in it. Not only for this season, but for the future with Deshaun Watson. So the Browns will have to weather the storm. You'll go through the rest of these 8 games, which, again, I appreciate Barry going out there and trying to say, okay, we have a great opportunity in front of us. What happened, Ryan? He pointed to the Philadelphia Eagles when they had to go in and go get Nick Foles. Nick Foles, it's funny, Ryan, he's available. I don't know if that option's there right now. I don't know. Because Foles was already on that roster. They had 2 guys that they were going back and forth deciding who was going to start. You didn't really have that here. Now, you can go sign somebody, which is what I think they're going to have to do. But he did speak about the great opportunity facing this team forward. And we tweeted this out, at Matt Fontana Show, our list of positivity, so to speak, for where the Browns are at. And they're in a position right now, 4-4. That's it. You have 8 games on the way out the door. Yeah, it'd be nicer if you beat the AFC teams and all that other kind of stuff. You got to get 4 wins. How you get them, when you get them, and where you get them, I don't know. And I think the biggest question is the how. I really think the next 24 hours is going to be really big for the Cleveland Browns. Because the shock is now over. You know that you're not going to have Deshaun Watson. And it's how this team will respond. The culture that we felt this team was building was on the field. That now needs to translate to kind of off the field. I need these guys showing up today and saying, we're going to get to work and we got to find a way to beat the Pittsburgh Steelers. Barry said in his press conference, there's no pity. Nobody around the league is going to cry, shed a tear for the Cleveland Browns. So you have got to make chicken salad out of this chicken blank, which is the biggest pile of chicken blank we've had to deal with here in a long time. And you got to find a way to turn this around. The doom and gloom, and you want to know what? I don't want to say this about the fans either, Ryan, because today is a day, like, as a fan, you're just sick to your stomach, right? But I might make this edict for the fans. Let's be mad and upset about it today, and then we need to focus tomorrow. We will start tomorrow on our show at 9 o'clock right here on Big Play, and we will talk about the path forward and what they can do forward. I know expectations are now changed. And I know that there are people that are ripping their tickets up for Sunday, and they're upset about the playoffs, and you believe that every hope and dream that you have had have just gone out the window. Like my pen. But it's not. Even at a point where it looked like this is the worst. This is the absolute worst. Whatever you feel about Deshaun Watson, you lost your franchise quarterback and your best opportunity to go out and win. Nope. We're here. But you got to. I'm not chalking this up. I'm not going to do that. You got 8 games left. I know it's a mountain to climb, but at least I want to try. I'm not going to sit down here and just say, all right, well, I'll just sit down here at base camp where it's nice and easy and warm. I'll at least give you the climb. I'll at least give it the try. I'm not ready to pack it in. I'm not ready to go out here and just chalk the season up. There is no point to doing that. You might as well play it out, rely on your defense, run the game, and go sign a quarterback next week. That gives you something. Because when they do, and I know they will, we'll talk and we'll try to believe in that person. Andrew Berry would not say if they were signing this quarterback to the practice squad or to the active roster. There's twofold on it. Number one, if you sign a quarterback off of somebody else's practice squad, they have to go to the active roster. Now, you have a roster spot because Deshaun Watson was placed on IR. So that's aside. That's not a problem. But when they sign them to the active roster, what am I going to do? I am going to believe that quarterback is going to play. If they sign whoever it is, Ben DiNucci, Trace McSorley, don't throw up, please. I'm assuming that guy's going to play. Just even on Barry admitting that they're going to add a third quarterback, that gives me hope. Because it could be, nah, man, we're all in on P.J. Walker, and we believe in Dorian Thompson-Robinson, and I'd be sitting here saying bull crap. So at least, in a way, Andrew Berry admitted that they know P.J. Walker's not good enough to get the job done. He knows he's not good enough to get the job done. That's just a fact. Is it a marginal improvement? I don't know. But the biggest improvement will be if they sign that list of Foles, Cam Newton, Joe Flacco, even Colt to a degree. You at least then would have a guy that could handle the situation. Handle on the field is important. But right now, you are in, what do they do it? Crisis management, right? You're in a crisis management mode. I kind of need a quarterback to deal with that. I kind of need a guy that's going to come in here and be able to saddle that and say, and answer all, what's happened. As soon as they sign quarterback X, whoever that quarterback is, they're going to come in. They're going to get inundated with all these questions. Can you handle it? Are you going to, how you fit the offense on? And I just feel like I need a veteran guy to stand up there and handle it. And I'm sorry to P.J. Walker. He's going to get lost in the wash with all this. He'll play Sunday, and then we need to bring a veteran guy in. Even just for handling the off-the-field stuff. For entering this complete blank storm that it is. That's not an easy thing to do. And I don't want people to forget that. I don't want people to forget how hard it's going to be for a quarterback to step into this blank show right now. It's going to be a big part of who they sign. And I would imagine Andrew Berry's going to be burning the phones up soon. Going to be burning the phones up soon to try to find some people. Okay, so here's the other, and we'll talk about this a little tomorrow. Would Sunday's game change anything for you for P.J. Walker? Like, if he starts and he throws for 350 yards and 5 touchdowns, then maybe you'd sit there and go, maybe not. I have a feeling come Monday, no matter how P.J. Walker plays, I'm still going to want another quarterback in here to take the snaps and play the way that he is. All right, Ryan, let's get to it. Our bracket of the week up at Matt Fontana Show. we are doing your I could use some video games. I need something to take my mind off this.
No kidding, man. No kidding.
Something. Your favorite video game franchise of all time. We had a couple of runaways in this one. Grand Theft Auto takes it down for Group 1, and Group 2 went to Call of Duty.
This is where it
40%.
gets interesting, though. Groups 3 and 4. I
So-
feel like they're going to be a lot more closer.
So let's get to Groups 3 and 4. I got to pull these up here.
So Group 3, we got Gears of War,
There it is.
Mass Effect, Batman Arkham, the series, and
know where I'm
Super
voting.
Smash Bros.
Okay, very close on that. Group 4.
We got Halo, Uncharted, Metal Gear, and Ratchet and Clank.
I mean, I would say Halo there for me, and probably Batman Arkham is where I'm going to be. So we're going to post those at Matt Fontana Show. Vote there, and we'll do that again tomorrow. Don't go anywhere, folks. Chico, 12-2 right here. They have all the reaction to the Barry press conference. And then tonight, you have Bruce Drennan. Bonus time with Bruce Drennan. Can you imagine what Drennan's going to have to say on this old Browns quarterback situation? Keep it locked here, right here on Big Play. Follow us on Twitter, at Big Play. We're up at Matt Fontana Show, YouTube, Facebook, everywhere that you need. Catch it live. Catch it when you need it. Replay of our show as well. I'll retweet that back out at Matt Fontana 83. Day soldiers on. I know it's a tough day right now, but we soldier on. For Ryan Tyler, I am Matt Fontana, and as always, take it easy.